Hi, I'm going to show you how I created the Gantt chart that I used in the lectures using Gantt project. I'm not going to talk in depth about the features of the application. There's other videos that do that. But just to show you what I did, just to show you there's no mystery about it. So start the application however you do on your operating system. And then we've got a new project. If you wanted to create a new project, you could do it through this, but we don't need to. I'm going to start by adding the resources. We can either do that by resources new, or we can right click here or Control H, call them dev1 and dev2 as our two developers. Right, so now I add the tasks. Before I add the tasks in, I'm going to add some columns into here that I always want, which are so if you right click on the header, manage columns, I want duration, add that, ID, I want to add that, and predecessors. There we go. We'll sort those column widths out in a bit. So now we can add the tasks using a menu add task, or right click or control command T. Write requirements, develop whatever it was, develop tool, develop front end, test the tool, test the front. Right, so there's our tasks in. I'm going to just shuffle these columns around a little bit. I like my IDs to be on the left, so drag that over there. These are all a bit squished, so you can right click and resize if you really want to. Okay, so there's our tasks. The first thing that we need to do is set the duration of these. We can set the duration either by double clicking. Oops, try double clicking on that dot, it's probably easier. And we can set the duration here. So developing tool was, I realize I've missed one out now, creating the database, but we'll come back to that. Developing the tool was 3 days work, so we put in 3 there, and that bar's grown. I'm going to insert the create database here, so if I select the top one and then insert from there, it puts it in underneath, which is helpful. Create database, otherwise we could have dragged that. I think you can drag that up and down, or you can use these buttons here to do it. So writing the requirements, the other way to set the duration is to just click again on that. And writing the requirements had a duration of 2 days. Creating a database was 1 day. Front end was 3 days, I think. And testing was 2 days each. So 2 and 2. Right, so there's our tasks and our lengths. The next step is the dependencies or the predecessors. Again, 2 ways you can do this. So the write requirements doesn't have any predecessors. It's the first thing that happens. The create database does. It relies on write requirements. So if we can double click on that, go to the predecessors tab, and we can add write requirements as a predecessor, or any of the others, but it's write requirements in this occasion. We're not going to worry about the type of requirements for today. We'll treat all of them as one task can end when its predecessor finishes, which is what usually happens. So that's one way of doing it, and now you can see that this task has moved up to happen after this because it relies on this finishing. So we can do this for the rest. Developing a tool means that we need to develop the database first. So we can either double click, or we can just type in the number there. Whoops, that's not right. It's number 6. That's right. Front end relies on the database being done. So that's there. You can't test the tool till you've developed it. Not in this world. The world of my project here. So, and you can't test the front end till you've developed it. Right. So now we can see our project's looking a bit more like a project. Let me zoom in a bit. The other thing that we've got here is we've got 2 tasks happening at the same time. If you've got 2 tasks happening at the same time, you probably need 2 different people working on them. So we can do that if we add resources to it. So we should have our 2 resources, we do, and we can just decide who's doing these things. So we'll start off with the development of the tool. We're going to have, let's put in developer 1 there, put in developer 2, adding resources to tasks isn't something you can do by clicking on these columns, I don't think. I've never got that working. Testing the tool, we'll have the developers testing each other's code in this case. So we'll have them testing that, and I've already done that. I know, what am I doing? What am I doing? There we go. That's definitely doing that. That's fine. And just to finish off, we'll have, so we could have developer 1 doing both of these things. In fact, let's do that. So here, for the first 1, 2, 3 days of the project, developer 2 is not very busy. They're not doing anything. And we could have developer 2 doing that, but there's still, you've always got one of your developers waiting around, and that's because we've got hard dependencies at the end of the project, and that's a kind of more advanced topic, is how do you avoid that? Can you somehow rearrange or split up your tasks so that you haven't got people waiting around? It's quite an advanced thing. So now we can see on our chart that developer 1 is busy throughout, developer 2 is kind of a bit lazy at the beginning. But that's it really, that's our chart. If we wanted to export that, we can project export. It's a raster image, nice old-fashioned way of describing these, and then save it to wherever you want. If you want to get a nice clean export, you probably want to set this end date to be around the project end, which for us is this kind of the 10th. Here it's saying that it's going to export the whole thing, which you're going to get a lot of blank space here. It's probably not what you want. So you could either try and zoom in as much as you can, which we have, but then set the end date. Okay, that's creating a simple Gantt chart in Gantt project.